This is what you're going to learn in this video. The step-by-step process to make a sheet with wool tops. How to correctly cut a wool top. How to get really thin layers for good results. A trick that will help you with future nuno felt projects. How much mortar and soap to use. How to get straight edges. And what's the pinch test. So stay tuned. Supplies and equipment. This is what you'll need. Plastic to cover your work surface, bubble wrap, a wool top around 10 grams, soap, water and a towel, and this time a net to secure our wool in place. Place the plastic on the table to protect it, and then the bubble wrap on the plastic with the bubbles facing up. This is my wool top that I'll be cutting in a moment. And this is the net I'm going to use. It's a laundry bag that I've opened up. I like these because the material is very flexible. Now let's cut the wool. As you know, you never cut felting wool with scissors. This is how you cut it instead. Hold the wool with both hands and keep them apart approximately 20 centimeters. Now pull gently but firmly. In this case, I'm cutting the 2 pieces I'll need. Divide the first one in half and then set aside the part you'll be using later. The next step is a very important one. If you don't get this right, you won't get a good piece of felt, and it's fundamental in more advanced projects. Hold the tuft with both hands and keep them apart approximately 10 centimeters. The hand you write with should be on the end of the tuft. Just hold on to the thinner fibers. Pull slowly and gently, and you should get a very thin tuft. If you do this with your wool, it'll be layered very thinly, so this guarantees that you get a good quality felt and a nice looking surface. The felt has a far better quality if you have many thin layers than if you work with a few thick ones. Practice this now and it'll be a huge advantage when you start working with nuno felt, for example. The next row should slightly overlay the first one. The fibers for each layer are laid in opposite direction to the one beneath it. This ensures that your felt is sufficiently resistant. So if your first layer was a vertical one, the second should be horizontal. Be sure to close any existing gaps. Repeat the process until you have the right amount of wool. You should have at least 3 layers. You can squeeze the air out of the wool before you lay down the next layer. And this is what the net is for, to cover the wool and keep it in place. Now there are several ways to get water onto your project. Don't worry too much about that right now. I promise to come back to this subject in another video. I'm using this rubber object. Sorry, I don't know what it's called. You can get it at some wool suppliers. I like to work with it because I find it gives out exactly the right amount of water. And because it's made of rubber, when I'm working with hot water, I don't get my fingers boiled. So I fill it and drop the water onto the wool. Next, I get soap on my hands and apply the soap to the wool by squeezing it onto the wool's surface. At the same time, this gets the air out of my wool layers. Keep adding soap until you see some foam, but not too much. Now you can start rubbing gently. In this phase, you shouldn't apply too much pressure or your wool will move. Here's another extremely important thing to keep in mind. Every now and again, lift your net to ensure it doesn't stick to the wool. And then continue rubbing. I thought I could flip my felt piece, but it's still too soft. The rubbing continues, but now you can start applying more pressure. Okay, it looks secure enough to flip. Now do it in one movement. This is particularly important if you're working with a big piece. If you want to get straight edges without having to cut them after felting, fold the fibers inward. This is the right moment to do it before the felt is so advanced that the fibers won't stick anymore. Put the net on the wool and rub some more. If the wool is too dry, add some more water and soap, just enough to get some foam. Don't take too long without removing the net, or this will happen. Remember to rub in all directions because the felt shrinks in the direction you're rubbing. See how it looks solid? It's time for the pinch test. You literally pinch the felt between your fingers to check if the fibers are still loose. And they're not. It looks ready for fulling. Now this is the shrinkage phase. There are different ways to do this, but we'll come back to this in a future video. I'll just squeeze, rub, roll, and apply pressure to the felt in different ways to shrink it. Can you see how it's shrinking? Can you see how the surface is becoming wavier as it shrinks? And it's done. Want to make fun projects with felt sheets? Here are some you can try. So what are you planning to do with your sheet? Do share in the comments below. In the next video, you'll see the difference of making a sheet of felt with wool bounce. Until then, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you soon.